My restaurant got contracted to be there, and we hit it off at first. He was really nice. I served him a few drinks, and then after that, didn't think anything of it, but he called the company I work for and asked for my information.
Very romantic.
They obviously didn't give it to him, but I called him, and we were dating for about 3-4 months, and then I see a text message on his phone from his wife.
Oh.
Asking when he was going to be home. I had already fallen very madly in love with him and asked him what this was about. And he claims that he and his wife were separated, and he had been separated with her for quite some time, and that it was just me and him against the world. And he convinced me that we were going to be together forever.
Okay.
And
so you were married at the time?
I was, Your Honor, yes. I was married for a couple years. But again, some of what Kelly was saying wasn't completely true. I don't know if this is the correct time to get into that, but...
Probably not, because I need to understand why she's suing you for almost $10,000. But so you were married at the time you started a relationship?
Yes.
Okay. So you knew you were dating a married man?
Yes, but I didn't find out until after a few months of dating him.
Okay. But then when you found out he was a married man, you continued dating him, but it was okay?
Because he said he was separated from his wife.
Okay.
He said that they were no longer together,
All right.
and they just had children together.
Okay.
And so after a few months, I was living in my studio apartment, and he was kind of getting fed up with having to go there. It was very, very cramped and very crowded. I am currently in school, and so there's books everywhere, paperwork, etc. And so he convinced me to get a bigger apartment. I am a bartender and a waitress. I make $7.25 an hour, and I couldn't afford it. And so he said that he would pay for this apartment that I would live in, and so when he came over, it would be easier and more wonderful, and we would have more space. And so
you didn't want to move out of your little studio apartment?
No, I did not.
How much did you pay for your studio apartment?
$900 a month.
That's a pretty good deal. Okay,
It was
$900, and you paid utilities and things like that?
Yes, utilities was about like $100 a month.
Okay, so maybe $1,000 a month you spent.
Yes.
All right. So he wanted you to be in a bigger place?
Yes, he wanted to be in a bigger place. It was very, very cramped. Like you can touch the stove with your foot from the bed. It was that small.
Okay, all right. So it was his idea for you to get a new apartment?
Yes, it was his idea for me to get a new apartment, and he would not be living there full time. He would stay with me like 2-3 days a week. And then while we were together, everything was fine.
How long did you date for?
We dated for about 4 or 5 months before I moved into the new apartment, and it was a brand new apartment. Everything was state-of-the-art, new kitchen, very big, 2 bedrooms, and it was very nice, but it was nothing that I needed. And then 7 months later, I get a call. He didn't even come in person. I get a call saying, my wife found out, I need to break up with you, and I'm not going to pay your rent anymore. And
you signed the lease?
Yes, I did sign the lease.
Okay. And then he's not going to pay rent. So his wife found out about you, but
Yes.
I thought you were separated.
No, we are together. My wife and I are together.
Oh, so you had an affair?
Yes, that's right.
Flat-out affair?
Yes.
Yeah.
Double life?
Yes, it had gone on for a little over a year.
Okay, so you're paying her rent, but also living at home. Did you say you were going like on business trips or something, and then you would just go spend the night with her a couple times a week?
Yeah, at different times as well, just coming home from business trips. It would be nice to just go into the apartment and see Kelly for a bit.
He's suing him for $10,000 because he stopped paying her rent after his wife found out about the affair. First of all, why are you paying for her rent? You are basically doing hush money with Wi-Fi. And she says that when she found out that he was married, he told her that they were separated. And I'm like, oh, that's the classic line. If I had $1 for every we are separated but still live together story, I could pay her rent myself. And you believe this man was the skunk Harrido. The dude looks like he's been pledging for a frat in the face, but his hair is screaming midlife crisis about to retire. Dude, this guy needs to pick a lane. And then he gets caught because, surprise, he was still very much married. Dude, you cannot have your cake, eat it, do or dash it, and then finance someone else's apartment on the side. Once your wife finds out, the sponsorship ends. That's not the injustice. This is basically exposure that we all were basically hoping in this situation. You don't get rent to household of wives or Venmo. Now it's gonna be tough to say whether or not that he has to pay for the rent of her, because he did it for a little bit, but there maybe was not a contract signed about it. So I wanna know, what do you think, guys? Do you think that he's gonna have to pay her back the money for the rent on, or because the affair ends suddenly, now he does not have to pay her rent? As much as you wish that he would pay for it, because his piece of poop, he's probably not gonna have it to pay. But what do you guys think?
Signed the lease.
I signed
It's under
the
your
lease.
name, I understand.
He also is signed on the lease, and so
Okay.
he would pay me the $3,096 a month, and then I would pay the lease with that.
Okay. When he told you that he got back together with his wife and he wasn't going to pay for rent anymore, you had 3 months left, or how many months left?
I had about 3-4 months left. Yes.
3-4 months left. So you had to pay that on your own?
Yes, I actually had to sell a lot of my things in order to. I'm going to school full time, so I didn't have any savings. I was trying to pay off my student loans, so I didn't have any debt when I left.
So you
and-
want him to reimburse you for those last 3 months of the lease?
Yes, because we paid the first 2 months within the security deposit.
Okay, so that's why you're asking for $9,288.
Yes.
So $9,288 is about 3 months, right?
Yes.
Okay, all right. And why didn't you want to pay her the rent?
Yes, Your Honor, if you do want to review the lease, my name is not on the lease. It's only her
Can
name.
I get any evidence that you have? please?
Yes, I do. I have
Okay.
the rent.
So, but
payment.
you paid for her rent before, right?
Yes, that's correct, Your Honor. I paid
How
for
many
her
months did you pay for her rent?
about 7 months.
Just give me the evidence, please. So you paid rent for 7 months. You didn't even make her pay $1?
No,
50
it was contingent.
cents?
Yes, Your Honor, it was contingent
Nothing.
that I would pay the rent while.
So you were
while
just
she's-
going to pay the rent?
Yes,
right?
I was going to pay the rent while we
Okay.
were together.
And where is he on the lease?
I misspoke. I'm sorry. He was with me when I signed
Okay,
the lease.
all right. So then these are the receipt payments of
Yes.
what he made. So you paid March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October. So you paid all those months?
Yes.
Okay, so you paid 7 months
That's
or
right.
more. It was under your promise that you were going to pay for rent every single month.
While we were together, yes, that was the agreement.
Every single month you pay for rent.
While we were together, that is true.
No, you still paid for rent. So, when I look at a contract, of course the lease is under her name. Had she paid like a couple months, $50, $500, I say, okay, that's a different story. But you paid rent for 7 months straight. So your prior conduct tells me that you had something under the law that's called a course of dealing. When you do something continuously and you have prior conduct, prior performance, that means that it was your intention to continue doing it. Just because you got caught and your wife gave you the ultimatum, that's when you said, I'm not paying it for anymore, right? But you paid for 7 months, I didn't. So that to me has established that you have a course of dealing, and your course of dealing was to pay for rent every single month.
Yes, Your Honor, but isn't it possible that what you're bringing up possibly ends when we had decided that
No.
it would be
Nope.
so
We
under,
didn't decide.
Nope.
so under this
She didn't decide. You broke up with her because you got caught.
So at first we found out that he may be on the lease, and I'm like, dude, what kind of bozo signs a lease with this mistress? That's not a fair anymore. That's basically co-signed commitment, hoping not to get caught. This is like a sugar daddy level 9,000 unlocked. And then he says that, well, I was not on the lease, and I'm like, okay, except you paid her rent off for 7 months. That's not generosity anymore. That's basically a commitment with the tenacity. You can't say that I'm not involved while direct depositing like you are in the property management business. Then the lease gets reviewed in court, and it turns out that he actually was not on the lease. But it does not really matter, because technically they are still legally tied. And let's be real, if you are wiring thousands of dollars to a landlord every month, you are spiritually on that lease. And how does the wife not even notice that thousands were leaving this account? Where did she think that the money was going? Premium fish bait. Ladies, this is why we need joint bank accounts. Transparency saves marriages and prevents sugar daddy 9,000 from funding apartment too.
It has nothing to do with your course of dealing.
Has nothing to do
your,
with us being together.
your prior performance. The lease doesn't say that oh, this lease is only for when we're together. I have nothing else that says that we're
Did
together.
you check Section 8?
Huh? The checks are just you deposited directly into your bank account, $3,096 every month.
Does the lease supersede all oral agreements?
There is no oral agreement. I don't know what oral agreement you're talking about. You didn't have an oral agreement with the landlord. This is a lease that she has with her landlord, and she ended up paying the last 3 months of rent. She's suing you because you paid for rent every single month. So you two had an understanding that was cemented by your prior performance of paying rent every single month. So had you paid $1,000, $1,500, 1 month $3,000, another month, I don't know, $1,200, and she paid the rest, then I would say, okay, you know what, Ms. Prieto, you're out of luck. You know, you signed the lease, you didn't rely on him because you guys were both paying for it. But because you were very punctual with your payments every single month, without fail, it shows me that that's what you intended. You intended to keep paying for rent. So.
Well, Your Honor, I would
I
say
didn't do it.
we had agreed that I would pay rent while we were together, and so
You wanted a bigger space. You wanted her to move into a bigger space. And
Well, that's something that we had agreed to
And the
together.
fact that you paid for rent every single month, it's very simple. It's your conduct. Absent a legal document, I have to look at the conduct and the intention of the people. Conduct is, actions are pretty strong things that tell me what that person meant. So again, you paid the exact rent every single month on time to her, and she then paid her landlord. That tells me a lot. It tells you that you intended to pay rent for the whole year while you were there together. So I didn't do that. You did, so I can only follow the law. So based on that, I will grant the plaintiff's claim in the amount of $9,288, which is the amount for the last 3 months of rent. Good luck, especially to you, Mr. Meady.
Thank you.
All rise.
Judge Perez has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant has been ordered to pay $9,288.
I sure hope your kids don't end up like you one day.
you might have won, but justice didn't.
Thank you. Guys, this one.